In tonight's headlines, Prime Minister Barrow is in Washington, D.C. on official business. Belizean soldiers will assist with relief efforts in the Caribbean, and we celebrate Mental Health Day in Belize. These stories and more on this week's edition of Belize Now. Thanks for joining us on this Friday, October 13th, 2017. I'm Charlie Hutchinson. The Prime Minister, Right Honorable Dean Barrow, left the country on Monday, October 9th to attend official meetings with the World Bank and Inter-American Development Bank IDB in Washington, D.C. Today, October 13th, Prime Minister Barrow signed a loan agreement with OPEC Fund for International Development to secure funding for the new Hullover Bridge project. Prime Minister Barrow also attended a high-level roundtable today with other government officials from CARICOM hosted by the World Bank Group. The topic of that roundtable was on after-storm recovery and resilience in the Caribbean. Immediately after that sit-down, he attended a Caribbean and International Partners Action Dialogue on Hurricanes hosted by the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Grenada and co-hosted by Sir Richard Branson. Prior to the roundtable today, the Prime Minister and the Governor of Central Bank of Belize, Her Excellency Joy Grant, met with the President of the Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. William Smith. On Thursday, October 12th, Prime Minister Barrow met briefly with Mr. Mauricio Silva, Executive Director of the Central American Constituency at the IDB, and Mrs. Elvira Mendez, Junior Counselor for Belize, in order to receive an update on the corporate IDB matters. The Prime Minister also attended a courtesy meeting with the Deputy Secretary General of the Organization of American States, His Excellency Nestor Mendez, and Belize's Ambassador to the United States of America, His Excellency Daniel Gutierrez. Prime Minister Barrow will return to Belize on October 15th. During his absence, the Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Patrick Faber, will act as Prime Minister. The construction contract for the reconstruction of Faber's Road between George Price Highway and Central American Boulevard was signed on October 12th between the Government of Belize and Emer Hernandez Development Company Limited. The contract was signed at over $7 million Belize dollars.
If you notice that this contract is about people, the people who are going to use it, and it's also important about the jobs that it will create. I am sure that we'll have probably over 100 people working in that area, because this is about over a mile, little bit over a mile of road improvement, and it is important because very important and strategic because it is in the south side of Belize City. We are committed to improve the city because it's still the commercial center of this country.
The Faber's Road area falls within the constituency of Honorable Anthony Martinez, who was also present at the signing.
This Faber's Road is not only about my constituency. The port of Belize sits in my constituency, and that is the main artery for the cargo going out to the district and coming in to go to the port. And especially with the Lake Independence Boulevard linking Chetomal Street, it's a main traffic area for the cargo going in and out from the port. We welcome this huge upgrade. It's a good economic boost for my area, and so with that, I have to say thanks for everybody, including the Prime Minister.
Minister Martinez noted that the last time any reconstruction was done on Faber's Road was 20 years ago. The works will include roadway clearance, including the removal of any remnant structures, obstructions, fencing, and the like within the road reserve, earthworks, construction of reinforced concrete box drains, sidewalks with roadside curbs and runoff channels, pavement rehabilitation, including the construction of a rigid concrete pavement and the installation of road centerline markings. It is anticipated that the works will commence immediately and will bring much-needed relief to deteriorated road conditions as well as employment for residents of the area. After the break, more stories. Stay with us.
This is a message from the Belizean Youth for Road Safety in collaboration with the Belize Road Safety Initiative and BEL. When you reach that light, take heed, reduce speed. Hold up when you reach that light. Take heed, reduce speed. Hold up when you reach that light. Hold up when you reach that light. Wait till it change up when you reach that light. Hold up when you reach that light. Wait till it change up. Hey. Red means stop, green means go. When you see the yellow, then that time for go slow. Some people like rush, why them off act so. Your destination got nowhere to go. Look out, the people where they walk across the road. Look out, the people where they ride across the road. When you're walking, look out for the hand signs slow. The pedestrian signal will die when you reach that light. Take heed, reduce speed. Hold up when you reach that light. Take heed, reduce speed. Hold up when you reach that light. Hold up when you reach that light. Wait till it change up when you reach that light. Hold up when you reach that light. Wait till it change up.
From the 1st to the 10th of October, officials from Morocco were on a study tour in Belize to learn and exchange views on Belize's experience in marine and coastal management. Janelle Rodriguez has the story.
Morocco, a North African country bordering the Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean Sea, is a country whose coasts are home to substantial fishing resources, more than 500 commercial species, while Belize has a coast enriched with lagoons, estuaries, and wetlands, fertile and productive ecosystems. The two countries have several mutual ambitions, one of which is to ensure the sustainability of their marine resources. Through a tour funded by the World Bank and hosted by the government of Belize, officials from various government agencies in Morocco were able to visit Belize in order to observe some of our practices and exchange ideas that will assist efforts for development in both countries. Yvonne Hyde, CEO, Ministry of Petroleum and Economic Development, told us more about the significance of the tour.
I think both of us have similar objectives for both sides to understand how you can best maximize while protecting your coastal and marine reserves. For us in a situation where, and maybe in the case of both countries, in situations where financial resources may be limited, for us certainly human resources are limited. So how do we best utilize what we have to be able to protect the environment along the coast and in the marine areas?
One of the officials on tour was World Bank's environmental specialist, Sylvia Diaz, who told us why the World Bank is involved in such a project.
The importance of the bank's involvement in this project is really in this activity is really being able to connect the countries and for them to share experiences and learn from each other and hopefully be able to apply those practices when they go back. At the bank, we also function as a knowledge broker, and we connect countries so that they can learn from each other. We see the demands of one country, and we match that with the global supply of knowledge.
An highlight of the tour was a trip to the Silk Keys, where the Moroccan officials were able to observe Belize's experience with alternative livelihoods, particularly that of seaweed cultivation. Seaweed is a burgeoning commercial industry in Morocco. It's in high demand for various health, nutritional, and cosmetic purposes. Moroccans were able to visit the seaweed growers at one of Belize's seaweed farms, where they observed from a very close perspective a new technique for growing seaweed in Belize that places the seaweed on bamboo logs, allowing it to grow much faster and healthier than with other methods. Through the exchange, Moroccans were able to learn about the effective bamboo method, while Belizean officials were able to learn about seaweed cultivation in Morocco and its economic benefits. Lowell Godfrey, seaweed farmer, told us more about the practice of farming seaweed in Belize and why it has an edge over other products.
Seaweed farming, we started to kind of relieve the pressure of commercial species that we normally harvest as fishermen, lobster, conch, scalefish, and also to give older fishermen an alternative, you know, to make a living. The commercial product is not as sustainable as seaweed, because seaweed is a renewable commodity by the fact that we can farm it, while lobster, conch, and scalefish is still not arrived to the point of farming.
Godfrey explained to us what the seaweed farming process is like.
Seaweed farming starts by taking what I would say like a clone, a branch of the seaweed, and put it in a rope or on a bamboo raft. And in 3 months' time, you harvest it, soak it overnight in fresh water, and put it out to dry. Normally, the drying process takes like a day, and then you package it, and send it off to market. Right now, we're marketing it at a very local scale. You know, we're just introducing it to Belizean first, and then with intentions to export.
While Godfrey mentioned that the economic benefits of the seaweed farming is currently minimal but encouraging, Sandra Grant, project coordinator for the Belize Marine Conservation and Climate Adaptation Project, MCAP, tells us how seaweed farming may soon be practiced on a much larger scale in Belize.
Fishermen have been asking us time and time again for us to fund a number of seaweed activities. As a matter of fact, we now have our consultant on board, and they are now starting the preliminary meetings with the different agencies and organizations to come up with a proposal for us that of how to implement these activities.
But what will this mean for Belize economically?
We have already had farmers who grow seaweed. Once we figure out the marketing aspect of it, I think that would bring jobs to a lot of our fishers, because that's what they want to do. They want to be on the waters. And if we can provide them with an alternative that is on the waters, and that they can grow their seaweed and sell it locally or by export, then that will be good news for our communities.
To culminate the exchange, officials from both countries could review the activities, discuss lessons learned, and share ideas for improvement. Sandra Grant shared with us what both countries were able to learn through the exchange.
One of the things that we all agree on is that integrated coastal zone management involves all players, and that you have to be the consultations with all the different ministries and fishers and different organizations on the ground is important for any successful integrated coastal zone management.
A representative from the Moroccan delegation also shared with us what her experience in Belize has been.
We have the same approach based in integrated zone coastal management. So we want to exchange our experiences in various activity. We want to learn from Belize what they do and the same for us. It's a very, very nice place. I enjoy. The people is very, very, very good, and the activity, the fishermen, it's all good. We appreciate and we enjoy our time.
A goal of the exchange is for those involved to use what they learned to impact development in their respective countries. It is said that where there is unity, there is strength. For Belize Now, I am Janelle Rodriguez.
As a part of their tour, the Moroccan officials visited the processing facilities at the National Fishermen Cooperative, the Placencia Rainforest Facilities, the Punta Gorda Rainforest Facilities, Port Honduras Marine Reserve and Punta Negra Village, Tide Fish Festival, and the fishermen and the community leaders at Punta Negra. The Embassy of the Republic of China Taiwan donated 5,000 Belize dollars to support the Belmopan Police Department's small-scale farming in schools project. The project was developed with focus on community youth empowerment through sustainable agriculture practices to lead the younger generation to a positive way of life and to provide a method of producing food to ensure food security and contribute to poverty alleviation.
We expect it to start immediately. It will be through the Ministry of Agriculture. The technical people will do all the setup, the initial part of it, and then the schools, the kids will continue the project. We expect by within a 3-week period from now, the project will be ongoing. There are kids going, I could tell you, not having breakfast and at the same time not having lunch. So we thought it necessary to be engaging in this endeavor, because kids no doubt can't learn fully if they're wondering where the next meal will come from. So we have to do our part.
I know the police, the job of police is very tough, but Commander Howells, in addition to his routine job for the crime prevention and to take care of the fight the crime, he also pay his attentions to devote his time to the kids. So that's the reason that I want the Embassy of Taiwan wanted to contribute something to it, because I know whatever is good for a kid will be do good for Belize eventually.
Ambassador Liu said that the Taiwan Embassy will make their monetary contribution on a yearly basis to ensure that the program can continue and benefit more students. The project will be done at the San Martin Government School, Garden City Primary School, and the Methodist High School in Belmopan. It is expected that 1,200 students will be impacted by this project. The Ministry of Agriculture will provide the technical assistance to the participants. Stay tuned for more stories after the break.
Uh-oh, what are those?
Germs!
That's right, they're germs, and they love to spread.
Uh-oh!
And how do they spread?
Hands!
Germs can spread everywhere from hands, and from hands they move on to food, toys, other hands, and faces.
Yuck!
Germs make people sick, and that's why it's very important to wash hands.
Hooray!
It's important to wash your hands, so follow these steps to do it right.
1,
Turn on the water and wet your hands.
2,
Use soap to lather your hands and scrub.
3,
Rinse your hands completely.
4,
Now that your hands are clean, use a paper towel to touch the handle and turn off the water.
5.
Dry your hands with a paper towel.
Hooray!
Follow these steps every time and you'll keep germs away. So remember, the best way to fight germs is wash hands.
The Ministry of Defense hosted the 3rd Annual Multinational Security Conference on Friday, October 6th in Belize City. The main objective of the conference was to share Belize's vision, work, and requirements with regard to military assistance with our allies and partners. Janelle Rodriguez has more.
On Friday, October 6th, high-level military figures from various corners of the globe gathered in Belize City to discuss military capacity building and security cooperation for the Belize Defense Force, Belize Coast Guard, and the Joint Intelligence Operations Center. We spoke to the leaders of the different delegations who spoke about the significance of their partnership with Belize.
Belize Defense Force is extremely professional, and we've been working with Belize for quite some time to develop, capacity for their own training, and also to develop capacity within the region. We feel that Belize is an excellent partner for Canada.
See a very good place to come down to train, especially for a lot of jungle warfare skills, a lot of expeditionary skills. I know we talked a lot about road projects of things of those natures. That is right what we work on as Marines in an expeditionary environment that would go along to help maintain our skill sets and to hopefully train your forces as well to get competency up on both sides.
Well, of course, for the United Kingdom and the British Army in particular, Belize is particularly important. We conduct the most arduous training that we conduct anywhere in the world here in the jungles of Belize. And that's something we value very highly. And because of the access and support provided by Belize, we try to pay back by military capacity building work, predominantly by sending short-term training teams to Belize, who work with the Belize Defense Force and the Belize Coast Guard to build their military capacity.
Representatives from the Belize delegation also shared with us how the consultation will be used to align the commitments of both countries and establish a common plan.
By the end of this conference, we should have formalized more or less who will produce what resource, what capability, what capacity from what we'll get from each country, and what Belize needs to produce as well.
This conference is very important for us. In the Belize Coast Guard, we're working with different partner nations. We're working with the US and the Canadians and Mexicans, and of course the British as well. This is important for us to be able to coordinate our initiatives, look for opportunities in training and capacity development so that we can continue to grow in accordance with the Belize Coast Guard strategy.
One thing that all delegates emphasized was the importance of partnerships, and one of the partnerships that Belize is involved with in the region is disaster relief. In that effort, the Belize Defense Force is deploying troops to assist with the recovery efforts of Dominica. Felix Enriquez, CEO in the Ministry of Defense, tells us more.
The Belize Defense Force, and through the Ministry of Defense, is sending a platoon of light engineers to Dominica to assist with the reconstruction. They will be deployed hopefully within the next week for a period of 2 months to construct roofs and housing reconstruction in Dominica as part of the regional security system and SIDEMA that Belize are part of. It goes to show that the challenge that we face at this time are not necessarily challenges that any one security force could address on its own. And so the reason for all these partnerships is because we all face similar challenges around the world. And Belize could be unfortunate, as Dominica has been at some point, and we would expect the same level of assistance from our regional partners. And so it's our turn to lend a hand to our Dominican and Caribbean brothers, and so that is what we're doing.
Helen Keller once said, "Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much." We look forward to sharing the developments in security partnership efforts with our viewers. For Belize Now, I am Janelle Rodriguez.
Tuesday, October 10th marked the 25th anniversary of World Mental Health Day, and in partnership with the Mental Health Association, the Ministry of Health celebrated the occasion with a small ceremony at the Welcome Resource Center in Belize City. This week, our Belize Now team learned more about mental health and why we need to talk more about it.
A recent study by the World Health Organization, WHO, shows that depression and anxiety disorders account for an annual productivity loss of $1 trillion to the global economy. And this year's theme for World Mental Health Day focuses on just that, mental health in the workplace. A heavily stigmatized topic in Belize, we sought out Nurse Eleanor Bennett, Nursing Administrator for Mental Health at the Ministry of Health, to better understand the importance of talking about mental health.
When we talk about mental health, We talk about how a person carries out his or her daily functions, how he gets along with people, how he copes with daily problems, and generally how, what kind of outlook that person has psychologically. A lot of people still don't understand or appreciate that a mental illness is your brain being sick. It's the same way you have a heart disease, it's your heart being sick, and you have a lung disease, it's your lung is sick. The same way your brain can be sick, it's a part of your body. And so getting that mindset, that shift has been a little bit difficult.
WHO statistics show that globally, more than 300 million people suffer from depression, and more than 260 million people are living with anxiety disorders. Many are living with both. Nurse Bennett says this is true for Belize.
Depression and anxiety are most prevalent mental health issues. So this tells us that people are becoming more comfortable coming to the services, receiving services for these disorders that they once suffered with in silence. Of course, we're still seeing the severe issues because people have to come here, they have nowhere else to go. But that they're coming for anxiety and depression tells us that they're becoming a little bit more open to receiving mental health care.
Not only are we seeing more depression and anxiety, but more young people continue to be afflicted by mental health issues.
We are seeing now a lot of young people, young men in particular, getting sick with the severe mental disorders. And usually there is a substance abuse issue that comes along with those sickness, with those illnesses. Substance abuse include marijuana, and crack cocaine, and of course alcohol. In terms of suicide, we see a lot of men dying by suicide, a lot of women attempting, which is the trend that is observed all over the world. But here in Belize, it is such a huge issue that sometimes our statistics show that there's 8 males to 1 female who die by suicide. So yes, more men dying by suicide, younger men getting sick with the severe mental disorders, but more women coming for treatment.
And what about stigma? Why is the discussion of mental health issues often swept under the carpet?
There are many theories as to why people don't really embrace this thought like this, because the serious disorders, the behaviors sometimes are so bizarre, so strange, that it's beyond the people's understanding. And a lot of times when we see people behaving like this, and we know these people, or we knew them as functioning people, we get scared. So human beings, we tend to want to ignore or hide what we don't understand or what threatens us. I think people are scared that this can happen to them, that they can lose their minds.
And just like any other mental illness, there are ways in which you can maintain a healthy brain.
Regular exercises, eating right, maintaining contact with our families and our friends, also very important. And also, if we are having difficulties, and like everybody does, maybe we have lost someone, maybe we're going through some problems in life, it's very important to reach out and talk to people, or reach out and talk to a professional even. But reaching out and not isolating yourself is very important to maintaining good mental health.
If you or someone you know is battling from a mental health disorder, mental health clinics are available in each district free of cost. The Welcome Resource Center in Belize City also provides a safe space for individuals battling with mental health issues. You can support fundraising efforts to assist the operations of the center by attending the annual Mental Health Association banquet, which will be hosted on Saturday, October 21st. Tickets are $75 each. For Belize Now, I am Janelle Mencius.
And that's it for this edition of Belize Now. If you want to provide feedback or send in your comments, please feel free to email us at info@pressoffice.gov.bz or visit our Facebook page and let us know what you think. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a great week. Until next time.